that make up this group of freedom fighters are mighty. Look around. We're it. We are the ones who are saving ourselves. Many times we feel the weight of our setbacks. There have been many. But look and really take in how much we've accomplished. They thought we would capitulate. Instead, we developed more tenacity. And little by little, because of the pressure from groups like this one here today, we have been able to expose the truth and amplify it. Many are still not paying attention, but we are. And we will continue to ring that alarm of truth and freedom until they all wake up and fight for our God-given rights. In all of our favorite movies, we root for the underdog. And this is no different. We are the little guy fighting against the big bully, and it's not too late. If you were duped, if you complied, put an end to that today and join us in what actually is everyone's fight for bodily autonomy, medical freedoms, and religious rights. For the current administration, take ownership of this, because you could have ended this in January. This was de Blasio's mess, and you could have cleaned it up, and you still have the time to do it. Let's do the right thing. Let's not disparage city workers, and let's stand with the city workers and fix what you came into and make it your win. Stop taking the L for somebody else. Let's do this. I want to introduce Paul real quick. He has 30 seconds of a message.
He was on the flyer to be here. It would be wrong if he didn't get a chance.
I'm not even going to try and compete with Sophie. She's amazing. If you weren't inspired, I'm not going to do the job. But what in Sean's words, I need you. All right? Me personally, I need you November 6th. If you're able to, I've been training for the marathon. Last year, I ran it with the American flag, and I got to tell you that weight was, I was, not that one, not the big one. But this year, I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm going to make it as challenging as I physically can. There's no way I'm not going to finish. There is nothing that can stand in my way that's going to hold me back from crossing that line. I don't know if it's going to be running in bunker gear. I don't know if it's going to be running with the flag again. But what I can tell you is I didn't train as hard as I did last year, because life got in the way, right? So I need you. So if you have the opportunity, please come out, because we're going to make this statement that we cannot be stopped, no matter the challenges. And one person, one voice can make a difference.
Yes, sir.
So when we cross that finish line, during the marathon, when we cross that finish line, when all these mandates are over and we're on the other side of it, all that struggle, all that pain, all that hardship will be worth it.
That's right.
Try and stop us, Mayor Adams. Try and stop us.
I want one more round of applause for all of the heroes and bravest for choice. Loud enough so the tyrant Hochul can hear us at all. We got a great lineup of speakers. Lee Zeldin is supposed to be here later. Of course, you heard Jimmy Levy is here. He's going to perform. We're mixing it up between speakers and performances so we can go out there. Heroes at the FDNY, we see you, brothers. We're going to bring up our next musical performance, and this guy, he does a great job. I'm just going to try to speed things along. He was going to open up over. Is he ready? Yeah. I don't know. Testing. Can you make sure this one works? Testing. All right, that's what's up, Kobe.
Mic check.
Ay, Dios mío, pero who's gonna be?
Testing.
Now this one works. It didn't work before. I'm not crazy. Well, I am crazy, but that's besides the point. Anyway, you want to introduce him, Sean, since you're up here? That's good. Hi. Good. Hello.
Up next, these guys all came out. By the way, so many of these artists just flew out on their own dime, just for the movement. Miami, Texas, Arizona, California, just to be here for this movement on their own dime. The next up is my boy, he told the truth. The truth is what it is. Let's go, drop the beat.
You gon' have to kill me before you vaccine me. You gon' have to kill me before you vaccine me. What's up, New York? Y'all ready to let these dirty politicians really run this city? What's all wrong with the music?
Check it out. Instrumental.
Technically difficult.
One of the speakers must be out. Right or left, something ain't panic.
Sorry guys, we'll be right back. Little technical difficulties. Yeah. Woo! Are you guys ready for this? Are you guys ready for this? That's right. That's right.
Go out! Zeldin in! Won't 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 go out! Zeldin in!
That's line out.
Watch the mic here.
No, did you give me a dislike? Oh my God, children, stop.
Maybe not. Go ahead.
Where's that gun?
Before you have before the left and right is both coming out once.
Testing. Only this one I think is working. Testing.
It's all good, bro. We're all family over here.
Yes, sir.
It's all good, bro.
Testing. Now we're good. Okay. All right, ready? Good?
Yeah, it's good.
Testing,
Yeah, no,
testing.
she just has a low. Blast it real quick just to see how it goes.
Yeah.
It's all a facade, all engineered by the people in charge. No need for names, you know who they are. And we got to remember, they can only do what we let them do. Rise like a phoenix up in the sky, make them triple when we unite.
Bring it back. You ready? You ready? You came from Miami. Let's go. He's gonna bring the Miami Heat. Let's go.
Let's do it.
You ready for this, New York? Medical freedom is all it is.
Let's let these
Everything
guys
is
know
medical
who really
freedom.
runs this city. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
In the end, we all gonna die. No one gonna make it out this bitch alive. Might as well put up a fight. Fight for your liberty, fight for your rights, fight for your life, fight for the freedom to fight. Fight for the ones who done died, fighting for yours. Fight for the cause, fight for your country. Cause it's got the ball. Ain't no pandemic, it's all a facade. And all engineered by the people in charge. No need for names, you know who they are. They work in the shadows and lurk in the dark. And they got a scheme to murder us all by putting a needle in everyone's arm. I'm telling the world, I'm ringing alarm. You finna let them, I'll take them to war. Said the power's in the people, like I see a fear in their eyes. Every time we come together, why they always try to divide us by race, color, or gender? But we know it's all an agenda. But one thing we got to remember, they can only do what we let them. Tell them many people will rise like a phoenix up in the sky. Make them tremble when we unite. We the people refuse, send our children back to your school. Shut out, bend it down for the flu now. We the people will die before we bow down to your lives. Only way out is war now. We the people refuse all your vaccine, and if you try and force it on me, I shoot. Won't put no mask over my face or shoot no vaccine in my vein. Won't send my kids off to their schools or their theme parks to go play. And if I want, I'ma celebrate every holiday from June to May. Won't be tracked and I won't be traced. Wipe my ass for the shit they say. Won't put no swab all in my brain. Just to jump on no plane. It was the land of the free. This was the home of the brave. It's not the land of the sheep. And home to those who are afraid of shit you can't even see. These people going insane. Use your brain. Rise like a phoenix up in the sky. Make them tremble when we unite. We the people refuse. All your children back to your school. Shut up, beat it down for the flu now. We the people will die before we bow down to your lies. Only way out is war now. We the people refuse all your vaccines, and if you try and force it on me, I shoot. Ready, ready, ready. When they go in rebellion, I'm the epitome. Won't need that so I don't need that medicine. Won't send my kids to the school to be edited. Bitch, I done let almost shot in the veteran. Working on aim while I wait on the enemy. Slowly approaching with teeth for the venom. We think I don't see him, we think I'm asleep. Really a wolf, but they think I'm a sheep. Woke and I won't comply. I'm strapped and I'm down to die. A motherfucking nightmare and anybody who tries to trample on my freedom. Got some lead here, I'm gonna feed them. Live my past life as a demon, and he's still here if I need him. We the people will rise like a phoenix up in the sky. Make them tremble when we unite. We the people refuse. Send our children back to your school. Shut up, bend it down for the flu now. We the people will die before we bow down to your lies. Only way out is war now. We the people refuse all your vaccines, and if you try and force it on me, I shoot.
Rise up. Thank y'all, New York. Rise up. Remember, the power's in the people, not the people in power. They do what we let them. I love y'all, New York. Keep the fight up.
Let's go. Rise up, people.
All right, give it up for Cozy and Ito. Cozy, come back up here for a second. So, the crowd is going to sing for us today because this guy right here had a birthday yesterday, and he's one of those people that doesn't tell anybody because he doesn't want to make a big deal, but he is a big deal. He's freaking Cozy. So go, everyone, I need you to sing happy birthday together for Cozy over here. I'll get you all started. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cozy. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you all. I love you all. This is the movement. This is the movement that we built. And this movement's not going away. It's going to keep growing and growing and growing. Don't let up. Keep pushing back. Vote these monsters out.
That's right. Those people at Applebee's and all those other restaurants got nothing on our happy birthday singing. But the next guest that we have, last time I was at a rally was a while ago in Union Square when I was still running for U.S. Senate. I ran for local offices a couple couple of times the past few years after the pandemic started. I chose to fight back. I'm not going to get into me, but the point is, she introduced me last time with probably one of the best introductions I've ever heard. So I have the pleasure of introducing her. She's been out there on the front lines, fighting since day one. One of the true warriors in the freedom fighter movement. Give it up for Joy, everybody.
New York, New York, New York. All right. I'm sure I got like 4 minutes. And as always, whenever I come up here, I feel like I don't know what to say. But the message is always the same. The message is always consistent. God is real. And because he says we win, we won. Because he says we win, we won. So it's already set in stone. So we're going through the growing pains. We're going through the trials and the tribulations. But that's okay. Because God said we won. We win. He wins. So we win. And we've won. You all know me. You know about me. You know about us. I've told my story many times. I've been speaking for more than a year now. I left the DOE. You know, supposedly as of September, I was terminated for misconduct. Did not know that. Till literally September, a year after they terminated me. So I've been living day to day with God. Day to day, him holding my hand. Day to day, him providing and supplying for me because I'm not working, but I'm smiling. Because I have a peace and a joy that surpasses understanding in this realm because God has my hand and he comforts me every day. And that same comfort, I'm hoping it exudes off of me and it lands on you so that you know that there is a comfort in this struggle. It is a war. It is a war for your mind, your body, and your spirit. The trifecta. God made you and he wants to keep you. And there is an enemy that wants you. And he will go through every part of that trifecta. He'll go for you physically. He'll go for you mentally. And then he'll try to break you spiritually by trying to let you know that God won't save you. But I guarantee you, God has already put a plan in place to protect you, to keep you, and to move forward. I'll sum it up because, again, when I get up here, I never really know what to say, and you never really see it. I shake. And I'm nervous, but again, the message is still the same. God wins. God wins. New York, the enemy needs to know what we know because we've won. God wins. God wins. God wins. The last message I gave you the last time I was up here in August, I let you know what God has let us know. We are free. We are not slaves to the system. We may partake in it, but we are not slaves to the system. We are free. We are free mind, body, and soul. And I believe that for you, and I believe that for me, and we will continue forward together as always. We've done it this long. We can continue going forward. We are brothers and sisters together in this, and we will not let family go into this war alone. So we stick together. We stand together. Amen? 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 Amen. Thank you, DVS. I want to tell you how proud I am of him and what he's doing. I'm proud of each and every one of you continuing to come out, continuing boots on the ground, continuing standing up for your freedom, because God gave you that freedom, not the government. Thank you.
Let's go. So actually the next person who's coming to speak is kind of the reason why I've been marching with these particular people and created such a close, intimate relationship with them and become practically a family right here on the streets. I met her like 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. at a few places. First time I heard her speak, I almost cried just because she was so powerful, and she was, you know, she's everything they describe us not to be. You know what I mean? She's Hispanic, she's dark. We're all supposed to be conspiracy theorists, white, racist, and she just spoke so powerfully. She has an accent that I love so much. My girl right here, Joe, let's go!
What's up, everybody? Oh my God, I cannot believe that we're still doing this nonsense, right? I cannot believe. Like, I want people to understand this, right? There's so many of us, and there's only a few people that are on top of this pyramid. If everybody, vaccinated, unvaccinated, black, white, Latino, Jewish, Asian, was to get up and say, no, this will end in 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Okay? For the people that are passing by, if you feel that New York is safe and you're blind to what's going on, then you need to open up your eyes. If you're a father or a mother, then you need to be paying attention to what these people are trying to do, not just to you, but also mainly to your children. Because running blindfold, pretending that there's nothing going on, is going to be the death of New York. And unfortunately, New York is the test run for all this nonsense. And I don't know what the hell happened to New York strong. It became New York weak and New York dumb. I really don't understand. Have we been watching the news? You get robbed, pushed on the train tracks, but our mayor, Eric Adams, decided to launch war on the rats, but not war on the criminals that are walking around in our streets. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. But yeah, when election time comes, they're going to beg you to vote for them. And we keep doing the same cycle. Listen, I'm a registered Republican, right? And at some point, I can admit that both sides of the coin are corrupt, right? However, the Democrats have gone way too far left. Way too far left. I was working in the school system. Some of you didn't know. I was a prior professional. While I was in the school, I told the kids one thing: do not ask me what my pronouns are. I am a woman, I have a vagina. You have a penis, you're a boy. Do not ask me.
Yeah!
Because I will not be entertaining lies and nonsense. I'm there to direct the next generation, not to corrupt them or to lie or to deceive them, because these are not my children. These are your children, and they're the future or tomorrow. Like, my main concern to me is not even myself anymore. I am not a mother. I don't want to be a mother. And I have younger nieces that I'm afraid of what future they're going to live in when we're not walking around with men that are saying that they're women and can go invade their spaces in the bathroom and in sports. And what hurts me the most is that there are women that are supporting this nonsense. Right? Because I don't see feminists standing up for the little girls that are being harassed in the school bathroom or whatever the case might be. Again, listen up, New Yorkers, those of you that are listening to what I'm saying right now, right? Those of you that are blind, those of you that don't want to hear the truth. I've been called a white supremacist and a white nationalist because I love freedom, right? I love freedom, I love truth, and I'm not gonna die a slave. I already got my job taken away from me, and I'm not gonna lie, it hurt me deeply. Not just financially, because financially I am struggling, right? But I really lost my job. I gave it my all in the school system, and I was discarded as if I was trash. Couldn't even apply for unemployment. Had to move back in with my parents. But you know what I say? They broke me down financially, but psychologically and spiritually, you can't break me down, because it has already been 1 whole year that I have not gotten a paycheck by the city, and I'm still standing. I'm still standing.
Yeah!
Because that is the goal that I want you guys to understand. Because people ask me all the time, well, Joe, what am I supposed to do? It's simple. Say no. Say no. No matter what they do, if they arrest you, doesn't matter. They destroy your business, doesn't matter. As long as you continue to fight, because fire. All right? And once they break down the human spirit, then you won't have the ability to fight. As long as you have the spirit in you, because there's people saying, well, why are you guys celebrating? Aren't these people coming after you? Okay, we've been fighting for how long now? It's okay for us to have a little bit of fun. It's okay for us to unite through music, because we're also human beings. And if we don't find a way to lift up our spirit, then we're going to be defeated. So for the people that are complaining, why are we celebrating? Because we can. And that's what they don't want us to do. They don't want you to be happy. They don't want you to be empowered. They don't want you to be happy. So do me a favor right now. Hug your neighbor. Hug your neighbor right now. Hug your neighbor. Hug your neighbor. Because for the past years, they told us we can't go to work, we can't visit grandma, we can't hug each other, we can't have our own faces. So,
it's a super spreader of love.
So by hugging each other, you're basically telling them to go fuck themselves. All right? That's what we need to tell them. Go fuck themselves. Because guess what? I did not elect Mayor Adams. I did not elect Holco. And even if I would have voted for them, because I don't vote Democrat, I'm still going to do whatever I want, because my freedom comes from God, not from a man or any institution. All right? Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that you are only a slave if you let them take a hold of your mind. Right? Because they can capture your body, but if in the mind and in your spirit you're free, then you will ever always be free. All right? Stand up, parents, especially you fathers, and fight for your children, because if you don't stand up for them with these vaccinations that are coming in and fight against the World Economic Forum and all these people, then we as a nation are done, and then the rest of the country is going to follow, because America is the last nation standing, regardless of the fact that we have so many haters and communists that hate this country, right? But they don't know what it's like to live in struggle. They don't know what it's like to live in a third world country. My parents came from there. And let me tell you, the reason why they're here is because in this country, they were able to thrive financially, and then they were able to go help the rest of my family members that were left in poverty with corrupted politicians that do nothing but steal the money from the people and the resources from those third world countries that are not really poor, but are made to be poor on purpose, because the people in power over there don't care about the people. Just like Adams and Holco don't care about you, because if they cared about you, they would have never fired us from our jobs.
That's right.
So when you go for them, so when you're about to vote, again, I don't really care too much about politics, but when you're going to go vote, don't vote for the person, the party that got us fired, the party that didn't allow us to go to a restaurant like we were back in the Jim Crow South. But they claim that they're for black people and inclusion. Bullshit. All right, New York? Stand up, New York. Stand up, New York.
They awakened the lions!
Sleeping bears on the lions. All right, give it up for Joe Rose, everyone. I'm going to talk about a couple of things that Joe mentioned really quick. One was the gender confusion. I just want to say, aren't the conservative women just so much better looking? Is that right or what? Like, I mean, the liberals, they got, you know, the conservatives, they don't have the tattoos and piercings all over the face. They don't, well, I mean, that's one nose ring, Joe. Come on. I'm talking about eyebrows, nose, cheeks, tattoos on the face, armpit hair. I don't like my women hairy. I mean, no offense to the Italian women out there. I remember when we used to be able to joke, tell Vito to cancel the hit. I'm just joking. Italian women are beautiful. I love Italian women. And a lot of them are conservatives. But Joe also talked about restaurants and the communism that they had. And one of the next speakers is also goes by the name of Josephine. She decided that she was going to just say no and not listen to the tyrants in City Hall that told her that only people that took the hokey pokey could come in the restaurant. And for those of you who don't know, because of censorship, I renamed it the hokey pokey, because you put your right arm out, you take the hokey pokey, and it turns your DNA around, and that's what it's all about. So she said, no, I'm not doing that. She has the famous sign that she will not discriminate against race, color, gender, etc., and hokey pokey status. I'm changing the technical terms around. But Rocco's Pastry is in Manhattan and also in Brooklyn, in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, which is my hometown. One of the heroes in the freedom fighter movement. Give it up for Josephine Generoso from Rocco's Pastry.
I'm Italian, everybody, but I'm actually losing my hair, so maybe it's all good. It's true.
Italians don't cry and say how they're offended. They can take a joke. I'm sorry.
Exactly. But I'm here today for all of you, and I was here speaking and coming to these rallies when I'm asked, because I don't believe, like Joe Rose said, a politician has the right to tell us what we should and can do. Unfortunately, if we elect these people, sometimes I doubt we've elected them, but unfortunately, they are running New York City into the ground. Take a look around you. Take a look around you. You can't get on a subway without possibly dying. Homeless running rampant. We have migrants coming in that are taken care of better than some of the homeless people and veterans that are here. They treat people that are non-citizens better than they treat the people that are here every single day fighting and living for the city. I am sick of the policies that are hurting us, and I hope everybody out there takes a look at their city and wants to bring it back to the way it should be. And this whole thing about having to vaccinate children now in order for them to live, they're killing our kids. They are killing our kids. It's disgusting when you read the VAERS report how many kids were affected with seizures and heart attacks and strokes and going unconscious, and now they possibly want that to come to New York, where we're going to have to vaccinate children for everything and anything. What kind of society kills their kids? We're supposed to be nurturing these children, and in fact, we're doing the opposite. So everybody out there, if it happens that kids need to be vaccinated to go to school, you better stop it. You better say no and not hurt your children. No, we will not comply. 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 Listen, I was thrust into this spotlight. I guess if this is a spotlight, I didn't exactly choose to be here. But God put me here. And I'm going to do everything in my power to wake up as many people as possible. I was afraid to say who I was, what I believed in. And now every single person that I come in contact with in my establishment, I don't care who it is, I lay it on the line. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. But I want to save our city, save our children, save our country, save our state. And if there is a mandate ever again, God forbid, I still will not comply. And I still would invite every single person, regardless of who they are, what they are, back into my place. I love all of you too. And to all the firefighters out there and the policemen out there, the way you were treated, I have the utmost respect for all of you. The fact that you were disrespected and couldn't have body autonomy is ridiculous, it's sad, and I'm proud of all of you. And every single one of you that stood up, because that's more powerful than anything I ever did. Same to the teachers, same to the doctors, same to anybody who lived and worked in New York City that fought. Every single one of you, I am so proud and inspired by everybody out here, because you have done more to fight than I actually have. And it's people like Joe Rose and Joy and the people that are on the streets marching, fighting, yelling, protesting that I have a lot of respect for. And I don't think they're respected the way they should be. And thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to be here, because without you, I would not be.
Give it up one more time for Josephine. All right, we talk about the children and how they want to force something that, really there is no science behind it. Children are low risk to begin with. And number two, it doesn't do anything to stop the spread or contraction or prevention or anything like that. But our next speaker is part of a children's organization that was started by RFK Jr. and Children's Health Defense. I know a lot of you have heard of it. And he's out here, he came out here to say a few words. He's part of the New York chapter. Give it up, everyone, for John Gilmore!
Thank you very much, Mark. Hey, it's great seeing people there. Now, I got to correct you for one thing, okay? I am affiliated here with I am affiliated with Children's Health Defense, but I am not here to speak for the organization, okay? I'm here to speak for myself. I'm here to speak for John Gilmore, okay? And for you who don't know me, I've been involved in vaccine rights work for about 20 years, and it all started when my son was a baby and he got injured by a vaccine and got lifelong brain damage. And I've been working on it ever since, all right? You are welcome, all right? And I got a really, really quick message here, right? One is the world has completely changed. It has completely changed. We've all learned some really, really hard lessons, okay? We've learned how corrupt the vaccine industry is and how corrupt the organizations are, the FDA, the CDC, that are supposed to be protecting us. They don't. They're looking out for the drug companies. They're looking out for Pfizer first and foremost up there on 42nd Street, okay? Now, what is this all about? Well, let's just put this a little bit in perspective, okay? In 2019, the entire global vaccine market was worth $20 billion, okay? In 2021 alone, Pfizer got $40 billion just for the COVID shot. Right, and we're looking at $100 billion, okay? This is all about money, and money can buy anything, right? However, what has happened, and you all know it, you've learned the lessons of what's going on, how they lie, how basically you can't trust anything they say, right? We all know that, right? And that leads us, we're people here because we're obviously here because we're dedicated to action and we want to do things. And there's a couple things we got to do, okay? Number one, okay, and I am a lifelong Democrat, we've got to get Lee Zeldin elected. Yeah! We must get Lee Zeldin elected, okay? Lee has already said no COVID shots when he's governor, right? And we already know back in over a year ago, Hochul was saying, I can't wait until I can require the kids to get to go to school, right? Second thing we got to do, we got to work like hell for the next 3 weeks to make sure that he gets elected. You got to show up. You got to get your friends to show up. You got to get your neighbors, your colleagues. Everybody has got to show up to vote, right?
That's right.
One more thing. This is really crucially important. How many of you folks out there had children who had religious exemptions got kicked out of school? Okay, right there. How many of you are workers that applied for a religious exemption or a medical exemption and got it turned down? All right, look at all those hands. You know what, folks? The days of the medical exemption, the days of the religious exemption are over. We do not go hat in hand to the powerful person anymore and say, oh, please let me have my rights. Those days are done. They're over, okay? This is my body. I'm going to make the decisions for it. These are my children. I'm going to make the decision what goes on in his body. So starting with the election, it's going to be all about changing that. Mandates are over. Mandates for work, mandates for professions, mandates for children, mandates for anything. And that's going to take a whole ton of work by us going forward to make sure that happens. But basically, every kind of freedom you can think of really hinges on that. We've come this far, and I know if we keep on focusing on this and keep on fighting, we're going to get there. So thank you very much.
All right, give it up for John Gilmore. What they're doing to our children is insane. They are go out there not only about forcing the shot, but they want to indoctrinate them to hate each other with critical race theory, to hate our country, and to be confused about their gender. All this craziness that these people are doing is pure evil to our children. One woman decided that she was going to do something, and she wrote a children's book to get people to know about the history of the American flag and why you should stand for the American flag. That book is called When You Stand For Me, and we have the author here, Elizabeth Tesoriero. Give it up for Liz, everybody.
What a beautiful day in New York City, everyone. What a day to fight for freedom. Okay, I have my cards. The teacher in me always has to be prepared. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Tesoriero, and I am the proud author of the children's book, When You Stand For Me, I'm Alive, a story told to teach children the importance of standing for and respecting our great American flag. I am also a mother and an educator and one hell of a patriot. I am so proud to be standing before all of you today to spread my message and help us all fight for the freedom that we deserve in this country. 80 years ago, my grandfather, Jack Marshall, graduated high school and, like many of his peers, enlisted in the Coast Guard. At barely 18 years old, he was shipped overseas where he would serve in World War II. I used to love hearing his stories about his times in battle, and I would often ask him, "Pop, while you were fighting for this country, were you scared?" His response was, "Hell yeah, I was scared, but it was my duty to fight for freedom in the country that I belong to." He often talked about how proud he was for his time served. He loved his country. His patriotism shaped who I am today. Thank you. He was an amazing guy. You can imagine his anger and disappointment when witnessing as an elderly man the decline of the country that he put his life on the line for. Watching him see celebrities, sports players, and the mainstream media campaign to take down patriotism and disrespect people like himself was my true inspiration for writing this book. I wanted to leave a legacy for Pop and his generation of die-hard patriots who fought for the freedom that we were living in at that time. What better way to start than with the children, right? Because they're who you're after. They're not after us, they're after our children. It's their young minds that are constantly bombarded with the anti-American rhetoric coming at them from far-left liberals, and we will no longer stand for it. This upcoming election is for our children's future. Woo! I wrote this book to help teach the young minds the history of our great country and show them that the flag is more than fabric, but rather the underlying basis for all of our freedoms, our hopes, and our dreams. Our past generations, families who came to this great country and looked to the flag for that freedom, is why our youth must keep that idea in their minds and in their hearts. They should know that when they disrespect the flag, they are disrespecting every single brave man and woman, past and present, who allowed them to have the freedom of disagreement and personal choice. Because in other countries, you cannot disagree. That's why everybody comes here to cause division, I guess. Right? Most of all children must be taught American traditionalism first, and not the left propaganda that's being fed to them in the New York State public schools and every other public school in America, quite frankly. Do you guys know how many children in the elementary schools do not know why they say the Pledge of Allegiance? It is shocking. On the first day of school this year, I asked my kindergarten students, "Do you know why we say the Pledge of Allegiance?" And obviously they didn't know. I needed to find out if it was just because they were entering school for the first time. I went to the 5th grade. I said, "Do you know why we say the Pledge of Allegiance in the morning?" I asked 5 students. All 5 of them said, "No." We are failing our students as educators because we are not allowed to teach them the fundamental traditionalism of America and loving this country and our history. We have to change things around so we are not offending anyone, and that is just not okay. When they read my book, they will know why they say the Pledge of Allegiance and stand for the great American flag. Sometimes I can't believe how far we have fallen in America, but like a speaker said before, the great Ronald Reagan did warn us that freedom is just one generation from extinction. Not on our watch. The true patriots like ourselves will not be defeated, for we have the power and the strength from God to turn this mess around. That's right. We are not the minority. We are the silenced majority, but we are no longer silent. We are rising up, and they have no choice but to hear us, because here we are. In New York City, my dad is a Democrat. He said, be careful, you're going to the bluest city in the world. I said, nope, I'm going to have patriots with me, I promise. We are the news now, the information soldiers, and we are dressed in our armor of God. Like Dr. Martin Luther King, I also have a dream that every child in America will stand for and respect our great American flag. They will no longer indoctrinate our children's minds with hate for our great country. With this book, we will spread the message that America is and always was the greatest country ever. The flag still stands for freedom. They will never take that away from us. United we stand, and when you stand for me, I'm alive. God bless all of you, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Yeah, give it up for Liz. I'm just going to say one quick thing about the book. The book is When You Stand For Me. It's whenyoustandforme.com. It has the history of the American flag, as well as, like she said, why you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And maybe some of you are like, why is he advertising the book? It's like, is it wrong if a patriot goes and sells some books and opens kids' minds? What are you, a communist? Buy a freaking book already. whenyoustandforme.com.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
She came down from Albany to be here with us. She's been at rallies all upstate with a lot of other politicians. She helped me with a fundraiser up in Albany. I gave this book to one of my friend's kids, and she loved it. And holidays are around the corner. When You Stand For Me.
Thank you. You can get it on the website. You can get it on Amazon. Any place online you can purchase a book. But please, thank you. Spread the message. Help me out. Thank you so much.
Give it up one more time for Liz, everyone.
Okay. The title of the book is When You Stand For Me, I'm Alive. It's a story told by the American flag. I personify the flag to have the flag tell the story. So it's a really fun read for a great Christmas gift. Thank you.
All right, our next guest.
And to the republic of which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Here we go. So, our next speaker was a journalist for Fox News, and she decided to expose the corruption. She's also a musical performer, but I have a message to all the so-called journalists out there that might stumble across one of these live feeds. If you're being told what to say, what you can say, and what you can't say, then you are not a journalist, you are a puppet. This woman here is not a puppet. She worked for a major company like Fox News and decided she wasn't going to take it. She wasn't going to be silenced. So give it up, everyone, for Ivory Hecker.
Thank you so much. It is great to be in New York City. I flew up from Texas. Yeah. I actually went to journalism school in New York, up in Syracuse, and that's where I learned what a journalist is supposed to do. In journalism school, they taught that the primary purpose of a journalist is to provide people with the information they need to be free and self-governing. That's a quote from J School. Mandates are the opposite of being free and self-governing. Mandates are government coming in and saying, we know better than you, and we're going to control your personal decisions. So when I saw the direction the country was going in 2020 into 2021, it really stunned me with the media's role. So the journalists in the corporate news were a key facet of what went down with this pandemic as in regards to controlling the individuals. Mandates wouldn't have been able to pass without corporate news being the cheerleaders of those mandates. But the reason that I decided I need to call out the fake news live on TV was when I found out it was fake. I didn't find out how fake the news could get until 2020. I had a 9-year career in corporate news, and I was working for Fox in Houston in 2020 when they really started to control the narrative. They sent me to cover COVID treatment, and after I covered what was actually happening at the hospital, they met with me and said, if you continue to cover exactly what doctors are using, you will be fired. And I was like, okay, for 9 years, I've gone out and collected the facts on the ground and brought them onto the news. Now you're saying if I do my job, I'll be fired. So what job am I doing anymore? And that's when I realized it was my cue to go. I later learned that hospital that they were trying to shut down the news about had a fourth of the death rate of the national average death rate from COVID-19. They were saving 4 times more lives, and the corporate news didn't want people to know the treatments that they were using. I was like, this is dirty. Then the narrative started on vaccines. When we got calls in our newsrooms, my 38-year-old healthy relative dropped dead a day after getting the shot. Will you cover his story to warn other people? No, we can't do that. I'm like, early on when the first shots were being administered, my boss says, okay, do this one story about one person who got a blood clot but recovered. I was like, well, if you're gonna talk about, act like that's the only side effect, we should probably shed light on the fact that the CDC says 3,000 people have died so far. Fox says, no, you can't make it look that bad. No, make it look safe. And so why are we spinning a narrative for vaccine manufacturers? I realized, wait, we're not covering the news anymore. We're advertisers for pharmaceutical companies now. I was like, well, what is going on? So then, to see more and more people being hurt by false narratives that the corporate news was putting out, I was like, get me out of here. And then with the election cycle too, guys, covering elections, my job was to make elections look perfect when in fact, the way you go to vote is riddled with flaws. I was getting sent all this evidence from boots on the ground on how many flaws were in the election system, and I couldn't report it so that it could be corrected. I couldn't let people know this is a giant problem. Your vote might not actually count. And Fox didn't want me to let people see the evidence. So things were pretty messed up, and that's when about a year into this crazy narrative, 2021, is when I finally got with Project Veritas, and they were like, call it out live on air. And that's what I did. Yes.
Fox News is as bullshit as CNN.
Exactly. Yeah. Fox and CNN, they're all so compromised. It is insane.
You just gotta get Tucker out of there.
Tucker's the hardest one to control because he pulls the ratings. If Fox says you can't do that, he'll be like, "What are you gonna do? Fire me?" So Tucker can say a little bit more than people like me were allowed to say. But Carrie Lake was a Fox Corp employee. I was a Fox Corp employee. We got Brandy Cruz in Washington State. She had the one show that was showing both sides in Washington State, and so Fox got rid of her show to help Washington State be totally radical leftist. Fox did that. Fox plays both sides, they're dirty. Anyway, Fox is about dividing people. Yeah, that's what I learned, sadly. So shortly after I called it out live on air, I get tagged in this song. I bring it up on my Instagram. I'm like, oh, this goes hard. Some guy named DVS 7.0 I've never heard of, but he goes hard. Yeah, and so I'm listening to it, and he shouts out my name. He put me in a lyric. I was like, yes! So shout out to DVS 7.0 putting on this event and dropping amazing American songs. Woo!
Thank you. Let's go. Thank you for putting on the two.
Yes. So I'm going to do two of the songs that I've written. In 2019, songs started to come to me in my sleep. I was just like channeling energy. So it was late 2020 when a lot of craziness was going down in the world, that people were wondering, where do we live anymore? Are we free anymore? And a lot of people were hurting in late 2020, and this song came to me in my sleep, channeling the feelings of America at that time, which I think a lot of Americans still feel that way. So I'm dropping this song. It'll be fully produced and dropped November 14th on all platforms. Yeah, it's called Freedom's Not Free. So go find me on Spotify, Apple Music, Ivory Hecker. Yeah, okay, let's do Freedom. Okay, I'll sing with it. Hey, would you like to run away with me? We can go somewhere so far away, where no one knows our names, and they don't tell us what to do. Would we get back our freedom if we vanished from this good? Or should we stay here and fight for the only home we ever knew? You said let's get on a plane instead of running away. I've got tickets to DC, you wanna go there with me? Right to the heart of it all. Let's keep our resolve, we gotta save our country, 'cause freedom's not free. Times are changing. Before we kiss on my wrist, he placed a bracelet. He said, if they take me, you see that tar stand beneath it there and wait for me. And then we'll go somewhere so far away, where no one knows our names, and they don't tell us what to do. We get back our freedom if we run away from this good. Or should we stay here and fight for the only home we ever knew? You said let's get on a plane instead of running away. I've got tickets to DC, you wanna go there with me? Right to the heart of it all. Let's keep our resolve, we gotta save our country, 'cause freedom's not free. Why don't we value all the things we have? Should have shirt from our hands, but I'll go and I'll fight and I'll stand against all their dark plans. Will I see her face again? She asked as her fingers slipped on his hands, put it all on the line to return the freedom to their land. So let's get our planes to run away and take TCC, go with me right to the heart of it all. Let's keep our resolve, we gotta save our country, 'cause freedom's not free. It's not free. Freedom's not free. Thanks so much. Oh no, so I was gonna do one more song. Is that okay? After? Okay, cool. All right, thank you so much, everybody. Thanks. Just take the news with a grain of salt. Thank you.
Give it up one more time for Ivory Hecker, everyone. All right, we mentioned before that Lee Zeldin was going to do his best to get here, and Lee Zeldin, for those of you that don't want to get into politics, it's very simple. If you like mandates, if you like high crime, if you like a destroyed economy, if you like high inflation, then continue to vote Democrat. Absolutely. As DVS said before, this is, and I've been repeating this message, this is New York's last chance to save New York. Lee Zeldin gave up a congressional seat to run for governor. He could have easily been reelected to Congress for another 2 years, but he saw that New York was falling apart with this bail reform bill and other destructive policies that the Democrats want. You need to not only go out there and vote for him, you need to tell everybody and your mother and your cousin and your sister's former roommate, whatever, to go and vote for Lee Zeldin. Zeldin! When he comes out here, I want everyone on their phones recording this, and I want you to post his speech on all of your social media platforms, not next week, not tomorrow. You record his speech and you post it right away so any of your liberal friends can hear what they have to say. Because the Democrats want to constantly try to say Republicans are racist. That is a lie. That is a lie. And people know it's a lie. We have a diverse crowd of people. We have Joe Rose, who's the black white supremacist. A fellow neo-Nazi, Joy over there. It is lies. They have no leg to stand on. They refuse to debate Lee Zeldin because they're afraid, because they don't have facts on their side. They don't have logic. They don't have common sense. Get your phones out and record Lee Zeldin. DVS wants to say a few words before we bring him out.
Zeldin for essential workers.
We're gonna come up together here.
Lee Zeldin.
So, Mike, check. Yeah, he can come up. Tell him to come. You come up. No.
All right. Once again, I need you guys to chant and scream as loud as you can for Lee Zeldin. So people in Albany, Miss Quarantine can't hold on you. Lee Zeldin! Lee Zeldin! Lee Zeldin! Lee Zeldin! Lee Zeldin! Lee Zeldin! Lee Zeldin!
So Lee Zeldin heard about this rally, and he came out knowing who was coming out here. It was you guys, the bravest for choice. The teachers for choice. It was you guys, the teachers who lost their jobs, medical workers, essential workers. And what I want to say while you're up here is, you know, I've walked around with a lot of these people, and I've heard the thing, you know, like there's just corruption on both sides. Everybody's wondering, they don't even want to vote anymore. And for me, it's like not voting is actually voting. And so this guy's a great guy. You know, he's been out with us. He's been, you know, he came to this rally knowing what we're all about. And I just want you to address everybody's concerns. We have real people here. We have a real crowd, and we've been walking with them religiously for the past 2 years, going through all these losses of jobs and going through all of these mandates. And we want to hear what you can do for us and how you can help us out in this situation. Thank you, brother, for coming so much.
Y'all ready to save our state?
Yes, sir!
If you are a firefighter, you're a teacher, you're a cop, you're a first responder, a healthcare worker, anyone who's been put out of work because of a vaccine mandate, let me hear from you.
Let's go!
I'll tell you two things that are very clear. One is that nobody, whether it is grade school, higher ed, employment, or otherwise, should be facing any COVID vaccine mandate in any way, shape, or form. People who were hailed as heroes were turned into zeros. It was just over a year ago. At the end of September, a new mandate came down from the governor where she was telling her healthcare workers that they had to get a COVID vaccine or they're out of a job. Fast forward to very recently, they had a press conference to try to talk about what they can do to fill the thousands of vacancies in the healthcare field. Well, I have a pretty good idea. How about you go back to the tens of thousands of people who were put out of work because of your mandate and offer them jobs back with back pay? All of the public servants who are here understand that public service is about serving the public. It's not about being served by the public. And I look out at a group of New Yorkers and your residents and your voters and your constituents. I would never look at a crowd like all of you and look at you as and call you as my apostles. I mean, what kind of a person would look at the people that they are elected to serve as people who are there to serve them? It's the other way around. You want to be back in control of your government again. You don't want to be ruled by an emperor governor in this state. We have students right now in higher ed who pay their tuition at SUNY and CUNY, community colleges and elsewhere, being blocked out of the classroom for what is a personal decision of whether or not to get the COVID vaccine. If you want to get it, get it. If you don't want to get it, don't get it. But that's your decision. Every single COVID mandate that a governor has the authority to get rid of on January 1st, 2023 will be gone. I believe that every single person in this crowd who lost your job for that personal decision should be offered your jobs back with back pay. And somehow these geniuses who are in office managed to turn our youngest generation into the generation that was most adversely impacted by COVID. They should be the ones that were least impacted. But the move to remote learning, the move with mask mandates on 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, while the masks were taken off of everyone else, these kids who maybe they're on the autism spectrum, they're learning how to speak. They can't see their teacher's face. The teacher can't see their face. Mental, emotional, physical, developmental abuse targeting our youngest generation. There are people who are running for office at all different levels of government. By the way, it's not just New York. It's all across our entire country. And if you are running for governor, whether it's the state of New York or elsewhere, you owe it to the people to let them know where you stand on the CDC's vote from this week. I'll tell you where I stand as governor of the state of New York. I will oppose all COVID vaccine mandates on all kids in grade school, in higher ed, employment, or otherwise.
Zeldin!
lecture us about following the science, the research, the data. Well, if we're going to do that, how about we look at the studies that were done by Johns Hopkins and others about natural immunity? There were people who exposed themselves to COVID. They weren't given the PPE. They had to take it back home and maybe expose other people in their houses, other family members. They were rightfully hailed as heroes. But then they get turned into zeros by people who are in government, who feel like they know best. If you're a healthcare worker and you were COVID positive, Johns Hopkins says that you actually have more protection with COVID than if you didn't have COVID and you get the COVID vaccine. So let's follow the research, follow the data, follow the science. The experts at Johns Hopkins and elsewhere say that natural immunity is a thing, and you shouldn't be firing someone who had COVID just weeks ago because they decided not to get a COVID vaccine, a COVID shot today. I'm calling on Kathy Hochul. Kathy Hochul was not elected governor of the state of New York. She was elected lieutenant governor, and then she became governor to fill the remainder of someone else's term. There is an election that is coming up in 17 days. Kathy Hochul should be standing right here on this stage today, telling you exactly what I am telling you all right now. And if she disagrees, she owes it to all of you to tell you where she stands. You all deserve to have a voice and representation in government too. You all deserve to have your seat in government as well. You right now are being taken for granted. You are being ignored. You're being targeted. You're being lectured to. You're being talked down upon. You are being lost of your livelihood for what is a personal decision. On January 1st, 2023, everywhere in the state of New York, that changes. And let me say one other thing. There should be no celebrity exemptions to the vaccine mandate. Just because you play for the Nets or the Mets or the Yankees, that doesn't make you any more of a hero than an NYPD officer, an FDNY firefighter, a teacher, a healthcare worker. If you're giving out celebrity exemptions, they go to our cops, they go to our teachers, they go to our healthcare workers, they go to our firefighters. I'll tell you what exemption we want. A total exemption. Everybody gets an exemption from COVID vaccine mandates. And I want to just touch on one other topic. And listen, I know exactly why we're here. Freedom is something that government should be giving you if there's any type of an exchange, giving you back, never taking away. Freedom is precious. Freedom was earned on the backs of generations who served in uniform, people who paid the ultimate sacrifice, and sometimes thousands of miles away. They did it for our flag. They did it for our Constitution, our country. People gave up their lives in defense of this nation and our freedoms. There are people in government who believe that they are able to, with the power invested in themselves, to take away your freedoms at will. It's important in 17 days that you all make it crystal clear to everyone in government at every level, and it doesn't matter whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, or an independent. It doesn't matter if you're liberal, moderate, or conservative. The message needs to set to everybody that the only way that any of us should be exchanging freedoms is for you in government to be giving us our freedoms back. We used to get to live in the greatest state, in the greatest country, in the history of the world. We right now lead the entire nation in population loss.
That's true. That's true.
It's important for all of us together, united as New Yorkers, focusing on what unites us and not what divides us. There's plenty that separates us all across the city. Maybe they're within our own families. It's at work, if you still have a job. We have to focus on what unites us and make sure that on January 1st, 2023, we are once again living our lives free, living our lives where we're in charge of our own government again, where you all who have lost your job are offered your jobs back, and we are able to say that once again we live in the greatest state, in the greatest country in the history of the world without apology. We have to fight for it. And I'm here to earn your support. And I'll tell you what, if I don't do what I say I'm going to do, if anybody else does not do what they say they are going to do, toss their asses out of office.
Zeldin! 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 One other thing that Lee didn't get a chance to touch on, some people took the shot and they're not concerned about the shot, but they are worried about getting shot in New York City with the high crime. He has thrown that bail reform bill and everything else in the garbage. So right from day one, he's getting rid of all these horrible legislations that are destroying the great city and state of New York. We do have local candidates that we have to get in office, and that is one of our next guests. She is running in this area right here, but it's also combined with Brooklyn, South Brooklyn, where I ran in, Dyker Heights and other parts of South Brooklyn. So she has a chance to win, okay? And when it comes to whether it's a local candidate or Lee Zeldin, if Lee Zeldin was sitting right next to you at a bar, would you offer to buy him a drink if you drink? $5, $10? Well, buying him a drink help him win office? No. What could is if you donate $5 to $10 to that campaign, because these tyrant Democrats have been out fundraising us and using that money to spread lies about racism and all that stuff. So vote for Lee Zeldin, donate to him, donate to your local candidates. This election is too important not to, okay? But our next guest, local candidate running for Congress, give it up, everyone, for Benin Hamden.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Thank you. I'm as excited to be here as all of you today. I'm a true Brooklynite, was born and raised in Borough Park, Brooklyn. And I have the real pleasure and honor to be running for office for U.S. House in District 10. I was running initially against Jerry Nadler, who was in office for 30 years, and we're tired of him. Then I was running against de Blasio, and he decided to jump out of the race. Now I'm running against Dan Goldman, a billionaire. To introduce myself, my name is Benin Hamden. I'm a Lebanese American. I'm the byproduct of legal immigration. My parents immigrated from Beirut, Lebanon, to the United States, obviously for a better life. So I encourage legal immigration, totally against illegal immigration. There's a lot of work we need to do. And if we're going to have Dan Goldman win this seat, or shall I say buy this seat, we're not going to see change. Dan Goldman is just the face of Jerry Nadler. He's worked with Jerry Nadler for 30 years. We've had enough. Enough is enough. We're calling for change this time around. And in order for change to happen, we need to vote out leaders, I shouldn't say leaders, corrupt leaders like Katie Hochul. This is why, in order to see change this year, we need to vote for Lee Zeldin. We need to make it happen. You need to tell your friends, your neighbors, your loved ones to go out on November 8th, even if they have to take a day off, because it's as important as going to, getting married, to any occasion that you believe is important to you. This is also important. This is basically our country right now. Given the rise in inflation, the rise in crime, the rise in everything is going downwards right now. This is not the New York City I know. I was working as an underwriter for a few years in other markets around the world. I've worked in markets which people consider high risk, like Saudi Arabia. I went there a few times with my business partners, and I have to say, it's nothing like New York City. I was like, I'm not going there anymore. I'm going to stay here. I need to do something for my country. If anything, I need to help revive the economy here. Given my background in finance, my background in business and law, I thought this is a good time to lead New York City through this fiscal crisis that we're having. And we always say inflation is the issue. Inflation, inflation, inflation. It is not inflation. It is corporate concentration. In every industry, we have 3 to 4 companies managing and controlling their industry. We need to encourage competition. The lack of competition is what's bringing our economy down. We need to help small businesses. We need to help each other. We need to bring back stores. I was walking here just an hour ago. It's been some time I've been around this area, but I see a lot of stores for rent. People are leaving the city. How do we bring them back is the question. And that's something I intend on working on the first day in office, is reviving our economy, encouraging hedge funds to come back, corporations to come back, small businesses to grow, providing the funding that they need. Where is the funding going right now? What's happening to what are our leaders doing right now in office besides just talking? Nothing, exactly, nothing. This is why, as Lee Zeldin said, and I cite what he said, we need real representation. We need someone who's going to represent you in Congress, who's going to be your voice in Congress. We don't need another AOC. We don't need another AOC. We're done. No AOC. We need a real leader with real capabilities, who's going to speak up for the working class. It's become a race between the working class and Goldman, the billionaire. So let's treat it that way. Let's call for a change. Vote on November 8th. Get out the vote. And I need all of you to show up and help your friends and family.
Give it up for Benin Hampton, everyone. So it's important to vote, it's important to donate, and it's also important to volunteer. The headline is, I need you for this rally, and we need you to get involved with local candidates or Lee Zeldin. Go reach out to them, see how you can help out and volunteer. But as I said, we have musical performances as well. Some of them are political. This next musical performance, I think even the hipsters and Democrats and liberals, it doesn't matter whether you're Republican, conservative, or communist, you will enjoy this next musical artist. She plays the saxophone. She does an amazing job at it. Let's give her a large round of applause. I know a lot of people want to see Lee Zeldin, but the whole city is going to stop and hear how great this artist is. Give it up for Angeli Sax.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Also, I'm so timid too, because it's the first time that I have to speak in English. I'm from Colombia, so thank you. I have no words. I'm so proud to be here in this kind of events. I hope that you like this performance because it's different. I'm going to express my feelings with my saxophone, with my music. I'm going to invite you guys to follow my job on Instagram, on social media, on Spotify, to listen my music, my instrumental music. You can find me as Angeli Sax, but the difference is Angeli Sax in Colombia writes with Y. It's different. You read like Anieli Sax, so it's different. So I'm going to invite you. You can find me also. Thank you so much, Sean, for inviting me to this amazing event. So let's do music. Thank you.
You want me to step?